All right, I'm back with some more gateway experience reflections. I'm not in the hammock anymore. I'm in a car because I don't know. I just have to be in the car right now because I'm in between things. This doesn't matter. The joys of talking into a phone, knowing that somebody's going to watch this, but somehow behaving as though no one's going to watch it is a very strange thing. Just catching anyone up who cares. The last video that I did was intro to Focus 12. I've been tinkering with a few things here and there, but I've mostly just stayed on Focus 12 for a couple of reasons. I was away for a little bit. I spent a lot of time by myself in a hotel, away from my family, and I just felt like I had a lot of good time to dive in and to meditate. And what I decided to use that time for was, instead of advancing, was to sort of like go back and forth between Focus 10 and Focus 12 and just really get a good sense of kind of what those things felt like in my body, and just exploring a little bit. I did do the 1 month patterning and the questions. I did them in the opposite order. I did the questions and the 1 month patterning. I have a ton of questions about both of those. For the first time, I started to wonder if I'm doing things right. I don't, and I've been doing some reading. I've been scanning through Reddit. I've been reading the manual. I've been reading the Gateway Workbook and all that stuff. And I can't quite get a clear enough answer, but with the 1 month patterning, I did it once. I followed the workbook as best I could understand. And when I was done, I let it go. And I've tried not to think about it. I released it in the meditation. I've really tried to release it in my day-to-day life. It's called 1 month patterning, which makes me think that you're not supposed to do it daily, so I haven't been. With the questions, I think my big discovery, and this is maybe not rocket science to anybody else, but I didn't do this the first time, was that I didn't write the questions down ahead of time. I thought the questions through ahead of time, and I knew what I wanted to go in and ask. And I went in and I asked and I asked and I asked, and I followed all the prompts. For me, at the very least, I got nothing back, which is fine. I wasn't really fussed about that, but it did make me come out and think. I think I need to set a stronger intention. A Redditor gave me some beautiful advice about setting a strong intention, and really talked me through some clues and some ways to think about setting a strong intention. So I've been trying to do that. Okay, let's do a little recap, and then I'll ramble a little bit more about sort of what my discoveries have been. So yeah, I've done Focus 12 now for, I don't know, since whenever the last video was. It's been a month maybe. I really thought I was going to do these videos more often, but it turns out that I don't have much to talk about like day to day, week to week. I'm keeping a bit of a journal, but a lot of the times I don't have a lot to enter into the journal. Here's the thing. In my Focus 12, I can confidently say I'm able to move between and feel the difference between what Focus 10 feels like in my body and what Focus 12 feels like in my body. Focus 12 has a lot of potential that some days turns into more and some days just doesn't. I can feel a wide expansion of my consciousness, I think. Power of suggestion, that explanation is there. And truly, I do think that what I'm feeling is my consciousness expanding. The times that I have to like explore and look around feel so fast and so fleeting. 3 of the times, more happened than just nothing. Most of the time, I would describe it as, and nothing is an oversimplification. I guess I mean nothing in comparison to what I'm about to describe. But most of the time, it's a lot of just like free space, void, time passing at different intervals. Sometimes it feels like time collapses in on itself and it's 2 seconds long. Sometimes it feels like I'm in it for 4 or 5 hours when really the time is fixed and it's only ever whatever the time on that tape is, 38 minutes or something like that. 3 of the times I had these flickers. So one of the things that I discovered is that I don't visualize things day to day in full color. I visualize them kind of in in sentience, in like a knowingness. So when I picture my energy conversion box, a lot of the times I can't see the box. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. But I have a very clear knowing of the box and knowing of what's going in the box. And it's a type of visualization. I just don't, if I say close your eyes and see a red apple, I don't see a red apple, but I get the sense of a red apple like through and through. So there's that, whatever that means. However, there was, the first time this happened, I was in Focus 12, and what it felt like was like my body was like soaring through the darkness. I didn't feel like I was grounded in my bed. I didn't feel like I was anywhere. And then all of a sudden my body picked up and just started moving. And it's as if I was moving like head first or feeling first. And at some point there was like this flickering and everything snapped into full color. And all of a sudden, for the first time in this meditative series, I was seeing vibrant colors, clear trees, grasses wrapping around buildings, going up into the sky. If you told me that happened for an hour, I'd believe you. If you told me that it was 10 seconds, I'd believe you. What I do know is that at some point, my mind went, wow, this is cool, and then it just stopped. It turned off immediately. And in that same meditation, I was able to observe myself enjoying the process. And again, I kind of sat back and it flickered back into full color again, and I just allowed it to happen for a bit, and then it flickered back off and turned off. That same thing has happened in different ways, probably 3 times now total. None more sort of like impactful or interesting than that first time. The other 2 times I wasn't flying. One of the times I was watching a scene unfold with very vivid people that I didn't know, and it was mundane, like nothing was happening. It was people like walking back and forth and stopping and talking. There was like buildings in the background or whatever. And the third time I can't remember. I don't have my journal here, but anyways, all that is to say is that it was actually really fascinating to see the snap between what had previously been just like darkness into more like literally it was like my eyes were open and I was just at a different space in the world, which was interesting and exciting. Now I was doing some reading about like the mind and intellect and just the idea that like so frequently our intellect is kind of a major vice in meditation. It's been leading me down a lot of thoughts around like how I'm approaching this and what I'm doing. And although I dove into this with very little expectation and a lot of like, let's just see what happens, this is so fun, I do think that subconsciously I have an expectation of wanting it to be something more than it has been, and I'm crushing some part of it, which I'm not entirely sure how to release. And if anybody watching this has an idea on that is very helpful. A lot of people that I've reached out to that talk about it are like, yeah, you just release it, and I'm like, that's cool. I'll keep trying, and I truly am. I've been at this daily, usually once a day now. If I can sneak in a second, I'm finding it harder between kids and family obligations. My wife has now started doing it as well, which I think is so exciting. And so we're kind of here doing this together, but separately. She's toiling away on Focus 10. Not that I'm that much farther down the road, but it's nice to be able to hear somebody else's experience. What else? Yeah, I don't have a ton to report. I've started playing with crystals because in one of the meditations, I shouldn't even laugh. I don't know why. I'm laughing because I'm uncomfortable. I started playing with crystals and learning about them and meditating with them because in one of the meditations it became clear that something in me was asking me for tools. I think I said this in a previous one. And so I've really been like grabbing onto different crystals and just seeing if I can use them to enhance my meditation or to guide me or to help. I don't know if they're working or yet not. I don't know what working means, but I am enjoying them, and they're starting to mean something to me, which I think is pretty important. I think developing a relationship to that is pretty key. I'm also very curious about my relationship between belief and knowing. I mean, I bought in A1 day one. I believe that I'm more than my physical body, that I'm more than my mind, and that I'm more than this planet, that there's a lot more out here that I'm a part of. The knowing is the piece that I'm curious about. I've started listening to Robert Monroe's first book, and although it's fantastic, it's interesting so far, it's not entirely helpful yet, but I'm just at the beginning of it. I am hoping that's going to unlock some stuff, and I've been listening to my Big Toe podcasts, which is like an interesting counterpoint to everything. But yeah, I'm just sort of dabbling in different pieces of information and asking people questions when I can ask questions. I think the biggest question I have is how Focus 12 is supposed to unfold. I felt like with Wave 1, it was very clear that I went tape by tape, and it wasn't until I felt good about a tape that I would move on to the next tape. Even when I got to Exploration and Sleep, I spent time with it, and Free Flow and all that sort of stuff. With Focus 12, I kind of stay on the intro because all the other ones seem like a thing that you have to do. And I can't tell with the questions if the intention is that I'm supposed to be doing that question tape over and over and over again until I become comfortable with it, or if the question one is one that you come back to, and if the patterning is one that you come back to. I am going to move on. I'm really excited to try to play with the energy bar tool. But yeah, I don't know. I have questions. I'll probably head over to Reddit at some point and ask some of these questions. If you're watching, I know that there are a number of Redditors, not a number, one or two Redditors who do watch this. If you have answers to these questions, please drop them in the comments below. I am looking for help. I might try and call the Monroe Institute again at some point and see if I can get somebody generous on the phone to help talk me through some stuff. Overall, I'm still in love with this process. At the very root of it, me reconnecting with a meditative process is changing things in my life. One of the things that I can fully see is happening is that there's a very clear shift. I work in two distinct industries, and one of the industries is the one that I want to be in. One of the industries is one that I'm in that I like and I love sometimes, but it's not the focus of my life. And since starting these meditations, the one that I want to be in has slowly been revealing itself and opening itself up to me again at a higher level, and making some invitations, which is, I really do believe that there's a direct correlation between these meditations and this meditative practice and the way I feel about things and the invitations that are coming from the world around me. So yeah, I'm going to keep moving forward with Focus 12. One of the things that I did for myself was I got a mask, like an eye mask cover, because what I was finding is that even if I was in a dark-ish space, I was too distracted by the incoming light, and so I decided to try getting something that completely closed off that sensory perception, and for me it made all the difference. Honestly, it just made it so easy to slip in to both Focus 10 and Focus 12. So I'm happy that I made that shift, and outside of that, just out here doing the Gateway experience. On the Reddit thread, one of the things that I've been most heartened by is seeing people help each other out, seeing people respond to each other with positivity and sort of digging each other out of the trenches. I know that I feel like I've been dug out of the trenches a couple of times. I think that with this work, it's so solitary. It's just you going in, and yet it's you going in to go out. And I think that once you get out, you're gonna meet the world at large, whether that's energetically or realistically, I don't know. But in the earliest days, I find that it can be a little bit lonely, kind of doing a meditative process like this and not having anyone to check in with. And I've been really excited by the Reddit thread, seeing all of the new people come and ask the same dumbass questions that I was asking when I first got in. And I think it's really important that we all have the circumspection to know that we had to ask those questions once too when we came through the trenches, and our job, our duty, our responsibility is to remain accountable to the process and to help fast track each other, which I see in the Reddit account so frequently. So the other thing I was going to say is somebody just posted an extended mega mix, which I've been wanting for so long, and I'm so glad somebody posted this. And it's an FLAC file, which I still don't know what that means, but they're really important. That takes you through F10 to F12 over the course of an hour. And for me, it's been dynamo. I did it, I've done it twice now. Once was yesterday. And I don't even remember. I don't even remember enough about the experience to talk about it. I just know that I came out of the experience and I was like, that was different, and I'm going to continue doing that. The other thing, this is the thing that I wanted to say. So for somebody who doesn't visualize very often, I also don't dream. I'm sure I dream every night. Everybody dreams every night, I think. I don't remember my dreams, and if I do remember my dreams, I often remember them as a sense rather than with any accuracy. And the other day, I came out of a dream with a complete chronological memory of the entire thing. So much so that I wrote it out, and then later on that night, I recounted it to my wife, and then I went back and checked my notes, and I was dead on. And I thought that was fascinating. And I could remember people's facial expressions. I could tell you exactly, if I was any version of a sketch artist, I could have drawn the people. I could have told you what the house was. So to me, that was a magnificent thing that I also think is being unlocked through meditation. I have a feeling that bit by bit I'm going to discover a lot of things that I kind of turned off that are ready to be turned back on, and I'm just here to say I invite them to be ready to turn back on. Anyways, that's it for me today. 16-minute video. Pretty good. I don't seem to be able to get in and out of this under 12, so 16 is a big win. Anyways, if you're listening, thanks for listening. If you're following along, that's super cool. I do the follow, subscribe thing, not because this is interesting, but just because I'm so sporadic that there's no other way that you'll know that I'm posting something. And if you are one of the people who are commenting, please keep commenting. Like I said, community I think is so important. Thanks for being here.